Hello students, you're welcome to the part 4 of amino acid metabolism. Today we'll discuss on acidic amino acids. Last day we have discussed on hydroxy amino acid and sulfur containing amino acids. So what are the acidic amino acids? Aspartate and glutamate are acidic amino acids, and asparagine and glutamine are their respective amides. All the 4 amino acids are non-essential and glucogenic. Aspartate and asparagine are interconvertible. L-asparaginase is used as an anti-cancer agent in the treatment of leukemias and lymphomas. Aspartate undergoes transamination to give rise to oxaloacetate, and which initiates the TCA cycle. On the other hand, aspartate is formed from oxaloacetate by transamination. Aspartate transaminase, that is AST, the enzyme catalyzing the process of transamination. Elevated AST or aspartate transaminase levels in plasma indicates myocardial infarction and liver disease. Aspartate contributes one amino group for the synthesis of urea, and malate aspartate subtle transfer the reducing equivalents from cytosol into the mitochondria for oxidation in electron transport chain. Aspartate contributes to the synthesis of purines and pyrimidines. For purine, N1 and NH2 at 6th position, and for pyrimidines, N3, C4, C5, and C6. Now, next is glutamate and glutamine. Both glutamate and glutamine are directly involved in the transfer of amino group for urea formation. Most amino acids transfer their amino group to alpha ketoglutarate to form glutamate, that is transamination. Glutamate is also formed during the metabolism of histidine, arginine, and proline. Now coming to the point of important biomolecules or synthesis of biologically important substances from glutamate. Number 1, N-acetyl glutamate, which is called as NAG. So N-acetyl glutamate or NAG is an allosteric activator of the key regulatory enzyme CPS1, what we have studied earlier in urea cycle. So it is a key regulatory enzyme, that is CPS1 of urea cycle, and it is synthesized from glutamate. Number 2, glutathione. Glutamine is one of the 3 amino acids which is used or which are used for the synthesis of tripeptide glutathione. Number 3, gamma carboxyglutamate. An additional carboxy group is added on the gamma carbon of glutamate to form gamma carboxyglutamate. This reaction requires vitamin K. Gamma carboxyglutamate is an important constituent of prothrombin and other clotting factors. Number 4, glutamate act as neurotransmitter. Glutamate and aspartate depolarize many neurons. Glutamate serves as an excretory neurotransmitter in the brain and spinal cord. And number 5 is gamma aminobutyric acid, or it is called GABA or GABA. So GABA is an inhibitory neurotransmitter formed from glutamate in brain. Biochemical role of GABA. So GABA acts as an inhibitory neurotransmitter by increasing the permeability of postsynaptic membranes to chloride ions. This causes hyperpolarization and which diminishes the transmission signals. And decreased GABA may cause increased neuronal excitability, which results convulsion. So glutamine is the major ammonia transporter in the body. In fact, glutamine is a storehouse of ammonia. Glutamine is synthesized from glutamate and ammonia. So ammonia is liberated by the hydrolysis of glutamine catalyzed by an enzyme glutaminase. Glutamine provides nitrogen atoms for the synthesis of purines and pyrimidines. Okay, next we are going to discuss the basic amino acids. So first, what are the basic amino acids? Lysine, arginine, and histidine are the basic amino acids. They are all essential amino acids, and lysine is degraded to acetyl CoA, while arginine and histidine are degraded to alpha ketoglutarate. Thus, lysine is purely ketogenic, and arginine, histidine are glycogenic amino acids. Now coming to the point of lysine. Lysine on hydroxylation forms hydroxylysine, and which is an important constituent of collagen and elastin. Trimethyl lysine serves as a precursor of the synthesis for carnitine. So carnitine transports fatty acids across the inner membrane of mitochondria into the matrix, where they are further oxidized. The metabolism of lysine is summarized in the table. Just see the table. So lysine is degraded to acetyl CoA and hence it is ketogenic. Okay, so this is the entire summary of lysine degradation. Next, histidine. Histidine is a semi-essential amino acid and it contains imidazole ring. Histidine acted upon by enzyme histidinase or histidase and is deaminated to form urocanate. Urocanate is then hydrated to form imidazole propionate, and which is hydrolyzed to a very important component, that is formiminoglutamate, which is called as FIGLU in abbreviation. So FIGLU loses its formimino group to the coenzyme of folic acid, tetrahydrofolate, that is THF, to form N5 formimino tetrahydrofolate. In the process, glutamate is generated. Deficiency of folic acid blocks this step in histidine metabolism. As a result, FIGLU levels are elevated in the blood and it is excreted in large quantities in urine. So histidine loading test is done to identify folate deficiency. Glutamate formed from FIGLU or formiminoglutamate is transaminated to alpha ketoglutarate, and which can be converted to glucose. Hence, histidine is glycogenic amino acid. Now, histamine. Histamine is a vasodilator and is formed from histidine by the process of decarboxylation. So, histamine causes a lowering of blood pressure. It stimulates gastric HCl secretion in high concentrations and it causes allergic reactions. Histamine acts through 3 types of receptors, which is called as H1, H2 and H3 receptors. Okay. Now next, arginine. Arginine is formed in the urea cycle, acted upon by arginase. Arginine splits into urea and ornithine. Arginine is catabolized to form glutamate, and which is transaminated to alpha ketoglutarate. Alpha ketoglutarate can take up the pathway of glucose formation. Hence, arginine is categorized as glycogenic amino acid. Arginine along with glycine and S-adenosylmethionine, which is called as SAM, takes part in the formation of creatine. So arginine acts as the precursor of nitric oxide, which is very, very important, NO, that is nitric oxide, and which mediates several functions in the body. So what are the functions of nitric oxide? Number one, nitric oxide is a potent vasodilator. It plays an important role in the regulation of normal blood pressure. Deficiency of nitric oxide may lead to hypertension. Nitric oxide acts as an inhibitor of platelet aggregation and adhesion. Okay. Number two, nitric oxide acts as a neurotransmitter, especially in the presynaptic terminals, and it is postulated that nitric oxide is also associated with memory. Number three, it stimulates the release of hormones. What are the hormones? GnRH and CRH from the hypothalamus. Okay. Next, number four, it is involved with the potential bactericidal actions of macrophages, including their ability to kill cancer cells. And number five and last one, it causes smooth muscle relaxation, resulting in reduced GI motility or gastrointestinal motility and relaxation of sphincters. It relaxes smooth muscles in the corpus cavernosum and increases the blood flow into the penis, causes the erection of the same. The drug sildenafil, which is commonly called as Viagra, inhibits the degradation of cyclic GMP by phosphodiesterase and is a very popular drug in treatment of erectile dysfunction. So the receptors which is present for histamine, that is H1, H2, H3. H1 is commonly found in smooth muscle contraction. Effect of H1 receptor is a smooth muscle contraction and increased vascular permeability. And effect of H2 is gastric HCl secretion, and H3 is a synthesis and release of histamine in the brain. Now, what are the therapeutic effects of nitric oxide? Number one, nitric oxide as nitroglycerin is used in the treatment of angina pectoris, which is a kind of chest pain, represents in the form of chest pain. Now, number two, inhalation of nitric oxide gas is employed in the treatment of pulmonary hypertension. Okay. So these are the functions, what I have explained. So these are the therapeutic effects. And today is up to this. So next day, we'll discuss on aromatic amino acids, and we'll discuss in detail the metabolism of phenylalanine and tyrosine. Thank you all.